So when you get to the fixed signs, they resist change. They're going to be stubborn, determined. So if you have your Jupiter in a fixed sign, one will be a fire, earth, fire, water, air. It's in a fixed sign, but it'll formulate an understanding, and it's going to be very stubborn and fixed in its own understanding. Your comprehension, this is right, or this is how things should be done. Don't tell me how to change it. This is what's right, this is what's wrong, this is how I'm doing. It's going to be difficult for a person to change their outlook on things, change their understanding on things. And they're not going to be encouraged to be driving like a cardinal sign. They're going to be trying to be consistent, hold things steady. My understanding is where I understand what I understand. Don't hassle it. This is how I'm doing it. And so when you're looking at the planet Jupiter, it will come along to it, but you will. When you're trying to understand these signs, the fixed sign is fixed Taurus, but it's about Venus, it's about the rulership, it's about the negative states of Mars, tendency to activate one's indulgences, to understand what one needs or what one wants or what's going to satisfy one. What am I going to get? Reflective sign. And it's going to be very fixed. I want this, and it's understanding will be fixed on what one wants. I want chocolate. I want to have this comfort. I want to have this beauty. I want to have these things. That's the Jupiter Taurus is going to understand what it wants, and its understanding is going to be formed on it. Well, many people, their understanding isn't based on what they want at all, and there's nothing to hold on to there. But this understanding, it's going to be difficult to learn lessons. They'll be learned by what one gains and what one loses. So win or lose, we gain the experience of Jupiter, and that wisdom can tell. If we made a big loss gambling, we should learn that it's not a good action to encourage gambling or to convince yourself you're lucky when you could be disciplined and very effective and get it a different way. So when you're working with someone's charts, these little archetypes, these categories, or your archetypal categories, will translate into experience that can be seen. And once you see the experience, when you go back up to the different implications of it, of the Jupiter word is, you begin to see how it's working to guide. So normally, if someone's in trouble, like juvenile, most juvenile delinquency, most kids that are arrested are male teenagers who are feeling rejected from not getting sexually experienced and feeling rejected by it, getting angry, and they justify negative reactions or getting in trouble. Girls will get in trouble in a different way than guys, but this, how come, why, what's fair, what's not fair. This is part of the Jupiter assessment. Do you think the world is fair or not fair? Do you think you would deal that things are unjust with you or just with you? Wow. Then it starts to be affected by these signs, and you start seeing these attitudes come in. When it's in Leo, it's ruled by the sun, and it's in Leo, it's trying to be best. So the understanding is good to winning, to being best. I got a chance to win. I got a chance to be best, and I'm holding on to it. I'm just lucky. This is how it is. And the Jupiter will always work that way and encourage you. And sometimes it can be very self-centered and not be good, but sometimes it can be very good in getting yourself noticed. But the understanding is developing and trying to encourage experience that allow this Leonian energy. I mean, then your whole chart is being guided by the sign that Jupiter's in. In this case, the fixed Leonian energy, and it won't change its processing. It'll be hard to change that across a lifetime. That's why people get different levels of processing, different levels of understanding, and they're clearly seemingly in different worlds, different dimensions of experience. In Scorpio, that really deep emotional judgmental side, fixed judgments, revenge, jealousy, dedication, trust. There's an understanding about trust, or there's an understanding about mistrust or misunderstandings about trust. Wow, this is the intimacies of sharing and sexual experiences and really trusting in business, trusting in relationships. And the understanding is going to be geared on that trust, and it's going to be based from, were your parents trusting each other? Did things work out? Were you trusted as you were growing up? Do your teachers trust you? Do you trust your teachers? Or the people around you? But it's going to be a fixed attitude about those experiences. Will come up early in young ages, and they'll develop a certain understanding that will be difficult to change. It will still evolve, but it will probably still maintain certain judgmental qualities. Fixed qualities. So when you get an understanding, right, if you get a wrong understanding, you can be so fixed that your understanding is correct even when it's wrong. May take 10, 12, may take 12 years, 24 years before you can even begin to see, oh, that might not have been right. In the meantime, you've corrected so many other experiences with a wrong understanding. And you have a sense of this is who I am. And that understanding is going to guide further actions. So when Jupiter's in Aquarius, it's the air sign, fixed air, it's fixed intellectually. So I understand, I know what I'm talking about. I can see the way this works like this, everybody's doing this, these are my friends, those are not my friends, this is how it works, and I'm going to process according to that. And the difficulty with any one of these understandings will be at odds with other people's understanding. So you could meet someone with your Jupiter's opposed or squared, you wouldn't see it to interpret it. But your understandings are cross currents with each other. And if you're understanding wrongly, you could be the policeman's son or the minister's son, and you're meeting someone, and you're dating someone that's a drug dealer's son, or someone in a countercultural setup around there, and one person could be living legally and understanding, well, why not, and other people, I'm not thinking this should be, another person can be living illegally or in very marginal or questionable areas and trying to justify their existence when they're not successful, and these can be at odds with each other. So if there's, as soon as there's a difference of a year, if you meet someone born the same year as you, the chances are you have the same Jupiter, same type of understanding, same sign, different houses probably. But if you meet someone a year away, you're going to have the next sign. If you meet someone 3 years difference, there's going to be a real challenge in understanding. 3 years, 6 years, 9 years, 12 years, these are going to be really distinctive understandings, and they'll all have their own fixity. When you have the mutable signs, it's the multitasking, the multifaceted, the very adaptable, the perceptive, manipulative signs. They can see how people are going to react before they say something, so they can say what they want, they can say certain things to get the reaction that they want. So in this case, there's the ability to adapt, and understand from many different perspectives, and see how and learn from many different perspectives. I guess if you're thinking of Jupiter as how you learn or how you grow, you develop your understanding, how you're learning, and learning good, learning bad, not learning, all of these things are parts of it, but you're going to do it in your own way. When you have many things to choose from, you can develop a wide perspective of the things you could do, or what might be right or what might be wrong. So the Jupiter rules Sagittarius and Pisces, rules two mutable signs, the adaptable social signs. When people come together, the ability to see what's right, what's principled, what's moral, what's immoral, be able to see the good and the bad in social situations. That's the strongest point of Jupiter. So when Jupiter's perceiving multifaceted, it gets a lot of input, and it's beginning to make a broad perspective on what's right and what's wrong. The philosopher of Sag and the preacher or the mystic of the Pisces. When it's in Jupiter and Virgo, it doesn't rule those, it has more difficulty with it, because those are the mental-based signs, Mercury and Virgo, Gemini and Virgo. They're Jupiter exaggerates the thinking, so you're thinking more and more, and you're convinced your thinking is the right understanding, but you're basically exaggerating your ideas, thinking you're more than you are. And this can cause it can cause great insights about what one can do or how one thinks, but it's not going to be socially receptive or be more integrated in the community. This is the Donald Trump syndrome. I can see all my things. There's all the Gemini. I'm not sure where Jupiter is. I'll find it later. But the ability to understand where other people are, or to give other people too much importance or too little, to see right or wrong, that's in the Jupiter rules the Sag and the Pisces. But in Gemini and Virgo, it tends to exaggerate or accentuate, tries to learn through the mind, through both intellectually in the air sign or practically in the earth sign, but it's looking at in many different ways to think, many different things you can do. It's trying to understand that diversity, but it's exaggerating the ideas, which is creating an exaggeration and a tendency to not see exactly morally or philosophically, but think that one is. puzzle. Still, it encourages the multifaceted, perceptive, inclusive comprehension. So, okay. So between the cardinal, fixed, immutable, you see the pushy, driving cardinal and the push one's understanding on others. I do believe, you better believe too, or I understand, we're going to join this pyramid club, we're going to make money, go for it, come on, we'll go. You know, we're going to drive for this. The Jupiter's encouraging those things. Whereas in the fixed sign, it's resisting, it's establishing, it's consolidating its understanding, justifying its experience. In the mutable, it's always learning different things. There's a different story and everything is very multifaceted. But for each mode, and they're distinct from each other, for each mode, you're going to have the three elements. So when you have the fire mode, when Jupiter is a fire mode, it's going to encourage action. It's going to encourage noble action. It's going to encourage Mars to go for something, to be proud, to be noble, to make a show, to take the adventure, to take the risk, to go for things. It's going to have the prideness that encourage the spontaneity to go do things. Being passive would be really an insult to the Jupiter in the fire signs. So you're encouraged to find careers, find work that let you doing things that are traveling, things that are being active, dynamic, and one in a pushy, impulsive way, one in a fixed, self-aggrandizing way, and one in a very diversified, exploring way. But the Jupiter in any of these signs will still encourage one to do more, to try it, to go beyond your horizons, to reach out, to expand more. Wow. Suppose you have your Jupiter encouraging to expand more, but all your planets are caught in places where it's inhibited, it's controlled, I better not expand. It's going to be begging you to try a little something new, rather than just waiting on anyone else. So even though I'm defining these one at a time, when you start seeing them in a person, start seeing the interaction, you have to watch the experiences. You have to see how someone lives and what they're doing and how they're. Usually you have to see a problem or a special gift. And you say, oh, they're really right, or how come they're so smart, or how come they can guide people really well, or how come they're such a good teacher, how come they're such a bad teacher, how come they're such a bad speculator, or how come someone's involved. You begin to see it from the Jupiter. Other factors can become involved. Other planets are going to be obviously involved in this, but Jupiter is based on Mars and is guiding Mars. So when you're starting looking at a chart from now, you start from where's their Jupiter. The Jupiter says how they're posted, what they're looking for, and you begin to see the Jupiter now as the understanding affecting the actions. When you're growing up, you're seeing how the actions develop the understanding, and then the understanding is encouraging the actions. Positive actions, negative actions. I got a negative action, I'm encouraging you don't get that again, instead of going for it to try and fix it. But this is the fire, the pride, the enthusiasm, the energy to spare, energy to burn. These are the fiery signs. So Jupiter is going to have an understanding. Let's go for it. Let's expand something. Let's travel. Let's do something. Let's make a mark. Let's make a splash. I can teach you. I can show you.